We actually have a call. Linda is calling from the Augusta area. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi.
How can we help?
How are you?
Great. Wonderful.
I was wondering, what is a part-time employee entitled to, as in for his Thanksgiving, Labor Day, or Christmas? Are we due to pay that? Get paid for that?
Hi, Linda. Well, as a part-time employee, remember that we're an at-will state in Georgia and in South Carolina, and they kind of can set the parameters for that. And while they can deviate from it, they can really just tell you a part-time employee is someone less than 40 hours. And so therefore, they may not be entitled to all of the benefits that a full-time employee is entitled to within the company. And the company's owners have a tendency to set what's going to be full-time, what's going to be part-time, and when you are eligible for certain benefits. And so that's a good thing to know when you come in. If I'm part-time, how do I make it to be full-time? And what benefits come on with that? So as a part-time employee, they can tell you at the onset that, look, you know, you don't get paid for those holidays because you're only here for 20 hours a week rather than the 40 hours a week. So it might not be the 20 hours that you would get over that you would not have worked normally anyway. But some employers will pay their part-time employees the same as anyone else just because it builds camaraderie. It makes everyone feel good about what they're doing. I do think you can look into it as if the employer uses majority part-time employees. Sometimes people have been doing that lately, so they don't have to give any benefits. Everybody's a part-time employee, you know?
I wonder, though, would they, Tanya, get double pay because it's a holiday, or could it just be considered a regular day?
Well, if you're 20 hours, you only get 20 hours a week. You wouldn't get paid for the holiday because you wouldn't even necessarily be working that day.
That'd be a bummer to have to work on Thanksgiving for this if it's $10 an hour for the same money.
Well, I think that's a separate issue of whether you get holiday pay rather than you get paid for the holiday when you don't have to work like a full-time person.
Understood. Yeah.
Now, Tanya, you know this stuff inside and out, and I have some brief knowledge of it, but the general public really doesn't understand. What does it mean when we use the term employee at will? What does that really mean?
Well, and particularly in the 11th Circuit, you're kind of in a very strict conservative
We're in the
state.
11th Circuit.
Georgia's in the 11th Circuit. It's in a field all by itself. But that just means that the employer dictates, you know, that you don't have a contract. They can fire you for any reason, no reason, not even a good reason. And that's where I think it really gets tough for people because that's your livelihood. And I hear that a lot. The difference is if you have a contract and you sign it, that it's only just cause. There's a difference if you are, I would say, not only under contract, but maybe they made some promises to you that are in writing. That's another reason. But what really happens in Georgia when you're at will, if they fire you and it's not for just cause, that's where unemployment comes in. And that's what I have to tell people a lot. If you don't have a discrimination suit, they are not firing you because of your race, your gender, your sex, whistleblowing or something like that. And they just said, tomorrow I'm going to come in and fire everybody. Really, they can do that.
They can do that.
They can do it, but you would get unemployment. And so that's the fallback in Georgia, South Carolina, and at-will states.
Now, let's take it to the next step. You're an employee at will, but your boss just don't like women. And he says, well, I'm tired of putting up with your needs, your problems with your child care, and I've decided to just go all men, period. You're fired. Is there any protection for that?
Yes, I hope they recorded it, and please come see me. That would be a great thing. No, people rarely do that, but, you know, that's what I mean. As far as they can fire you at will, but they cannot fire you based upon protected class, and that's sex, gender, pregnancy, race. All of those different things come into play. And so in that one, that would be gender. So you think sex discrimination is one thing, gender discrimination is another. You know, pregnancy discrimination is another. It would only fall on women. So when you talked about just, we're sick of you handling your children.
Sure.
That could be classified into the gender discrimination if the majority of the women on that job have children, and that comes into the child care issue. Not that men don't stay home and take care of their children, though. So I just think that that's a case of them making a decision based upon your gender and your sex. And that's something that would be actionable that you would need to file with the EEOC within 180 days. And that's what really needs to happen.
And when we come back after the break, what we're going to do is follow up with that.
Okay.
Because one of the things I know you want to talk about is the EEOC and how people can protect their rights when they have been discriminated against.
Yeah.